So fuel cells. What is a fuel cell? A fuel cell is something like I'm showing in the diagram here. It's something that converts fuel into electricity. So we have things that convert fuel into electricity, don't we? We have things that do this, and we have always had things that do this, and they are they're like batteries, right? An internal combustion engine converts fuel into rotational motion, but fuel into electricity, that's kind of like what a battery does. And a battery has chemical energy sitting inside it, and then it is doing some electron exchanges. It's doing some exchanges with its protons and electrons, and the electrons are going through a path so that we can use them, and then it depletes that fuel, and then eventually we throw out or recharge a battery. Yes? So it's the same sort of thing where there is fuel inside, and then your fuel cell turns that into electricity by harnessing those electrons. However, a battery gets depleted over time. A battery gets depleted over time, whereas the difference is that a fuel cell is not getting depleted over time. I'm just trying to be able to change my, to be able to zoom this, and I'm having trouble zooming properly. All right, that helps me a little bit. Okay, so yes, it works just like a battery, except a battery doesn't have this continuous feed of fuel. Batteries are consumed, and then we don't add more fuel to them. Whereas in a fuel cell, we're going to give a continuous feed of this fuel into the fuel cell, and we're going to get electricity out. So this is a bit of a difference. Now, I'm going to talk mostly about the most popular type of fuel cell, which is the hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell. The hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell uses a chemical reaction, and it takes electrons as they move from a high energy bond to a low energy bond, and it uses them. So here's what we're doing. In a hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell, we're putting in hydrogen. Hydrogen is our fuel. We get oxygen from the air. We have oxygen, and it is available. So oxygen is pretty readily available. Hydrogen, we have to make that and then put it in. And if I expose hydrogen and oxygen together, they like to form a very common substance that gives them nice, low energy. We are always trying to reach lowest entropy, and we want to have as low energy as possible and not be such excited molecules. And that very common substance that is easy to form is nice, stable water. So if I expose oxygen separately and hydrogen separately to each other, they're going to combine and make water. But if I expose them in a certain way together, they can give me electricity as they form the water. So what we have here then is something that is going to give me electricity and water. How great! Because water is good. I don't mind getting water. I'm not going to do this just to make water, but I mean, I could. This reminds me of a old, around 2005 video that was internal only to General Motors employees, because they could make videos just to advertise inside their company because they're so giant. And this was 2005, before the crash of 2008, and General Motors was the best company in the world. And they had an internal video advertising their alternate fuels and their fuel cell vehicles, and it was a very nice car, probably the Corvette, driving through the desert really quickly, and then it slows down to show a drip from the exhaust, and then it drips down onto this hot road, and a bird comes and it licks it up. It eats the drop. And it was so impactful because the drop that comes from the engine of a fuel cell vehicle is water. That's all that's coming out of that. And the electricity is driving the wheels. What a fantastic technology. It is not a dead technology. It's a technology that's very real and can be done, and we know how to do it. All right, so this oxygen is going to break its high energy bonds. Hydrogen is going to break its high energy bonds, and they're going to combine into water. But that happens in a matter of picoseconds. So let's pretend that we are chemists right now. We're going to look at this water molecule. So this water molecule has a big oxygen. That's the O at the bottom here. It's this big oxygen molecule. And then we have one hydrogen and another hydrogen. That's how we form H2O. There's two hydrogens and there's one O oxygen in this molecule. And when you when a bond is formed, there's a release of energy. It is easy to form bonds. So I'd like you to think about this so this is an endothermic reaction. It means that it gives away energy when it comes together, when that hydrogen and oxygen come together, because they were sort of excited, high energy, and now they're calm, relaxed, stable oxygen or water. So they released a lot of their energy. But when they had to break them in the first place, when they had to break these bonds, they had to absorb energy. So hydrogen, the two molecules of hydrogen together here, they don't just sit there in space waiting to be broken up, and then they don't just break. They actually have to have energy inserted in it for them to break, because things are not gonna break apart unless energy is given. That's called an exothermic reaction. There's a cost. If I want to now break this water molecule up, there's going to be a cost. I can break it up, but I'm going to have to put some energy in to break up this water into hydrogen and oxygen, which incidentally is very relevant to this, because in order to get the hydrogen in the first place, you have to put some energy in the form of heat energy or in the form of electrical energy, in order to release these bonds again or break them apart. So when a bond is broken, it's hard to do. There is a cost. You need to take some energy, and I think that's important to know when you're learning fuel cells. Okay, so let's see what a fuel cell actually does. And what I want to get to right now is how you harness the electricity. I can see that hydrogen and oxygen will go together and make water, but how do I get that electricity? Okay, so you get that by looking at this simple fuel cell reaction here, a simple fuel cell. So a simple fuel cell, the hydrogen combustion reaction is split into two electrochemical half reactions. So these arrows mean half reaction, okay? So in order to make one reaction of one entire chemical reaction, I'm splitting it in two. And the reason I'm splitting it in two is because I don't want just hydrogen plus oxygen to equal H2O. I want to do half of that reaction on one side, half of that reaction on the other side, because if I split up these reactions, if I split up hydrogen, here's me splitting up hydrogen, it's going to give me two hydrogen ions, and then it's going to give me 2 electrons. That's a half reaction, an electrochemical half reaction. And then if I go somewhere else and I then take those 2 hydrogen ions and I expose them to just some oxygen molecules as they are, and I give it 2 electrons, then it's going to form water. And the reason I have the 2 here is so that it balances, because I'm just stealing oxygen together as a molecule. It's 2 oxygens. And in order for this energy, this equation to balance to get my 2 hydrogen atoms, I'm going to have to take half of that oxygen. Because there's half as many oxygens as there are hydrogens, which we saw here. There's 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. At any rate, what I've highlighted here in blue, the 2 electrons are what matters, because what do electrons do? Electrons, when they move around a control path, that's how we make electrical energy. So I want this half reaction to happen on one side, another half reaction to happen on the other side, and I'll have electrons on one side being made. I'll have electrons I need on the other side. If I give them a path from the ones that I made to the place that I need it, then I can harness that electricity. So a simple fuel cell then means that I spatially separate the 2, and I separate them with a electrolyte. I'm going to do 1 reaction on an anode, what's called an anode, and 1 reaction is what's on a cathode, and we'll talk about what anode and cathode means. But at this point, I want you to look at this drawing and notice what I'm doing here. I want you to look at this drawing and notice that over here, I'm putting some hydrogen. I'm putting some hydrogen up against this anode. And over here, I'm putting some oxygen up against this cathode. I know from up here at the hydrogen, I know that 2 electrons are going to be made. And here we go. 2 electrons got made. Look at them go. Look at them go. And then I know over here at the cathode, I need to consume 2 electrons. So here they go into the cathode. So in order to make those useful electrons, I gave them a path. I gave them a path that's made out of copper, which is very permeable. It wants electrons to flow. It has very low resistance for the electron flow. So yes, I made some hydrogen atoms over here, but that wasn't really the point. They are going to go and combine with the oxygen that is being put up here, and they're going to make water over here, which is also not the point. The point of this fuel cell is that I did this. I harnessed the electrons from one electrochemical half reaction to the other electrochemical half reaction. I gave them a discrete path to travel on. I spatially separated 2 half reactions. And when I gave them that path to travel on, it makes electricity. So there you go. I lit up a light bulb while I was doing this. That's how a fuel cell works. So now you know. That's how a fuel cell works. You can go and see your friends and say, hey, you know how a fuel cell works? Here's how it works. It's kind of like a battery that way. Now, could you imagine now if I double the area? Well, look at what I mean by the area. It's the area of this electrode, and it has hydrogen on it, and the area of this cathode, and it has oxygen on it. If I can put that fuel over twice the amount of area, then I can double the amount of current that I produced. Well, that's kind of cool, right? If I put gasoline into an internal combustion engine and I throw more gas in it, do I make more horsepower? No, the engine still makes the same amount of horsepower, right? But this is like changing the actual engine. If I make bigger plates for the cathode and the electrode or for the cathode and the anode to do their work, then I have exactly doubled the amount of electricity that I made. So scaling of fuel cells is very real, and it's able to be done. You want a little bit of electricity, make a small fuel cell. You need twice that, it's twice the size. You need a large amount of electricity, massive fuel cell. So that's a very beneficial attribute of fuel cells. So the relationship between surface area of a fuel cell is literally, if the larger the fuel cell, the more current you can get from it. So to maximize the surface area to volume ratio, we make them a little bit different.